Most people treat their old 401k like a set it and forget it savings account. They leave it at a former employer thinking it's safe, but as a fiduciary, I'm here to tell you that leaving your money in an old 401k isn't just passive, it's often a strategic mistake. You are essentially a captive investor. You're limited to the 20 or so investment options the plan provider decided to offer, and in many cases, you don't even know what you own. You're just picking from vague buckets labeled US equity or international, right? Is that US equity the S&P 500? Maybe. Is the international, is it large cap? Is it mid cap? Is it emerging markets? Sometimes we don't know. But today, we're going to go through step by step on how we analyze a rollover and why this decision is the foundation of your retirement income strategy. Before we ever talk about moving money, we have to see if you should stay put. There are only 3 scenarios where I usually advise a client to keep their 401k where it is. First is creditor protection. So 401k plans are protected under ERISA federal law. If you have significant liability concerns, these plans are virtually untouchable. Second is the rule of 55. If you plan to retire or leave your job in the calendar years from age 55 to 59 and a half, you can access those specific 401k funds without the usual 10% early withdrawal penalty that you would have in the IRA. So that is a massive advantage you lose the moment that you roll the money into an IRA, as the IRA has the age 59 and a half rule to avoid that 10% early withdrawal penalty. I recently worked with a client and she started a new job. She doesn't like it. So her money's in her old 401k. So this rule of 55 wasn't going to work. So we actually rolled money from her old 401k into her new one to bridge that gap between age 57 to 59 and a half. So you can also put money back into the 401k if you're going to retire between 55 and 59 and a half. Right, so third, backdoor Roths. If you are a high earner and you do a backdoor Roth conversion, you have to be careful. The IRS uses a pro rata rule for IRAs. If you have a large traditional IRA balance, your conversion can become taxable. Keeping those funds in a 401k act as a safe harbor that keeps your tax bill at 0. If you don't fall into one of those 3 buckets, the 401k is usually just limiting your potential. When we move these funds to an IRA, we unlock what we call investment freedom. You aren't restricted to the plan's menu. You can incorporate individual stocks, preferred stocks, CDs, structured notes, annuities, specific dividend growth strategies, private placements, pre-IPOs. I mean, you name it. You can do a lot more inside the IRA than you can the 401k. And then beyond that, we solve the tax withholding trap. So many 401k providers force a mandatory 20% tax withholding on your withdrawals, whether you need that much money withheld or not. In an IRA, you choose the withholding, or you can choose to have it withhold 0. It's your capital, it's your money. You should have control over the flow to the IRS, right? If you're in the 22% tax bracket, let's withhold 22. If you're in the 12%, we'll withhold 12. But the mandatory 20% seems like a very tough rule that they should probably change. So how do we make this decision? Well, we don't just guess. We run a comprehensive investment analysis. We look at the fees, the risks, and the historical performance of your current 401k investments and compare them against a model built for your actual goals. For example, if you tell me, Luke, I want to live off my dividends so I don't have to touch my principal. Well, I can't help you do that with most 401ks. They simply don't have the tools. So we build in-house portfolios balanced between stocks and bonds that can target a dividend between 7 or 8%. Right? This is one of the portfolios we run. We use US large cap, mid cap, small cap, plus international, plus gold, a lot more different things than you can do inside the 401k and get the dividend stream that you're looking for. So we show you the math and then you make the decision. Your 401k is a utility, usually used for accumulation while working, not necessarily a permanent home for your capital. If we aren't using it for ERISA creditor protections, the rule of 55, or backdoor Roth conversions, you're likely sacrificing growth and tax efficiency. Don't let your retirement strategy stay on autopilot. If you're wondering if your current plan is holding you back, let's talk. Reach out to us at McCarty Wealth and we'll run a professional analysis comparing your 401k strategy built specifically for your goals. We'll look at the numbers together and see what actually makes sense for your future. I'm Luke McCarty. Thanks for watching. If you have questions about your specific plan, drop them in the comments below and let's get the conversation started.